Well, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi says he welcomes the call by Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party to get things right in the country amidst the developing controversy on President Bola Tinubu's Chicago State University credentials. Now, in a statement signed by Obiora Ifo, the Labour Party National Publicity Secretary, Peter Obi says he is on a quest to ensure a nation where justice is in place, and he will not stop until Nigeria achieves the leadership that truly deserves. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress, in reacting to Atiku's press conference, urged him to accept defeat and quietly lick his political wounds with some dignity, stating that Nigerians rejected him at the polls. In a statement signed by Felix Morka, spokesperson of the APC, the party says Atiku told the Illinois court that he wanted to use the discoveries in pursuit of his appeal at the Supreme Court, but has rather chosen to use same as an instrument of blackmail in clear contempt of the highest court of the land. Right, let's turn now to our Lagos studio and speak with the National Publicity Secretary of the Governing All Progressives Congress, Felix Morka. Good to see you on Newsnight. Very strong words coming from you there. But first off, what's the reaction from President Tinubu himself to this World Press Conference held by Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the PDP?
Thank you very much for having me on the program. Mr. President is busy concerning himself with the governance of this country. He was elected by the people of Nigeria to govern. That's what he's doing. And is completely unperturbed by the press conference held earlier today by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The conference itself was empty. I have no idea. After listening to to him speak, quite frankly, I couldn't make out anything that was the purpose of the press conference. It was completely empty. Just a regurgitation of all of the lies and misinformation and distortions that they bandied around all of this time. So, I was expecting to hear something, really cogent. Nothing came out of that press conference. Now, regarding the call to other, opposition figures to join in his, elusive search, I thought that was actually a farewell speech. That's what I make out of that press conference. I thought Atiku Abubakar, today, very humbly gave his farewell speech on this matter, and I commend him for at least recognizing that we have an apex court in this country, whose verdict is final. So he said that he will accept the verdict, and that's exactly what Mr. President is also willing to do, to accept the verdict of the Supreme Court on the matter. When you go to court and await the outcome. You don't go to court and then, sensationalize the same issues that you're canvassing in court. That's not the way it's done. And I think that Atiku Abubakar needs to rest this matter. All of the escapades in Chicago, and he talks about Nigeria's reputation. He is the one who is, putting into question Nigeria's reputation, across the world. He is the one who is going in search of, a needle, in a haystack somewhere in Chicago, and came back empty-handed. All of the lies that are told about what was said and what wasn't said, the transcripts speak for themselves. Everything that was said during that deposition is out there for any Nigerian who can read, to actually read and understand that all of the stories told by Atiku and his cohorts are just mere fabrications and a way to actually, quite frankly, grieve over their loss in the last presidential election.
But again, Felix, you would agree that he has rights to what he's about, because I'm looking at your statement where you said initially he had told the Illinois court that he wanted these to pursue his case at Nigeria's apex court. But is there anything barring him from revealing what he's gotten so far before coming to the courts?
No, there's nothing, that stops him from, sharing information. That is fine. But that not in the way, the information obtained is being deployed. If you obtain information, disclose the information truthfully, present accurately, that which you obtained from, this foreign legal process. But you don't come here to transmogrify the facts, doctor the facts, and, make conclusions. Where in the transcript? Look, you can read, I'm sure you've read the transcript. There's nowhere the words forgery or fake was said or captured or written in the transcript. So where does that come from? When you say a forgery, the individual who was deposed, the registrar of CSU, explained, everything that was there to explain. So for anyone to come back home to now say, the registrar during that deposition actually declared, the president's certificates as, a forgery, that's actually not conveying, facts. That's just somebody making things up and to sensationalize and create more confusion and whip up sentiments and incite, Nigerians. That's irresponsible.
But you would agree that it's even more confusing when the Chicago State University says it doesn't recognize the particular document. So it still leaves a lot of questions and what have you. But let's come to some of the claims made by Atiku Abubakar during the question and answer session there, where he actually claimed that some governors, from the APC, of course, had approached him ostensibly on behalf of President Tinubu to, step back a bit and not pursue this case in court. Did any such thing happen? Did the president send any kind of emissaries to, Atiku to, hold on a bit on this case?
No, I think that's mere, self-indulgence on the part of the former vice president. I have no information that anybody was sent to him. But if, if Nigerians who are concerned about the show of shame that is going on decide to approach the former vice president and say to him, hey, you need to rest. That's also what I'm saying. I am calling on the former vice president to rest this matter because there's no basis on which, all of this drama, it can be justified. He has submitted this matter to court. If there's any evidence he obtained from Chicago that he feels is of probative relevance to the case before the Supreme Court, he is very welcome to go before the Supreme Court and actually, argue those facts as he chooses. I mean, we all know what the Supreme Court represents and what their constitutional obligation, is when it comes to appeals. It is a court of appeal, and its duty here is to review the verdict rendered by the Court of Appeal, sitting as a tribunal in the matter, and to address issues of law or perhaps of facts presented before the court. Now, let me just remind us that this former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, his case, which he brought before the tribunal, had nothing to do with the forgery of certificates. His claim was that the president did not attend CSU. Now that is being rested, and now he's come up with invented another story to tell. Look, the president is busy governing Nigeria, and as a party, we stand firmly behind the president, and I know that the majority of Nigerians who elected the president also stand behind him in the job that he's been handed to perform.
Mr. Morka, you, as the president is busy fixing what he needs to fix in the country, is the party thinking of some legal actions? If you say the former vice president has come up with what's not in that document, for instance, words like forgery or fake, is this something that your party would want to take up in the spirit again of justice towing the line of Atiku Abubakar?
Look, what the party will do with respect to all of these distortions and lies and very malicious falsehood that is being bandied around, that's, again, this press conference happened today. That is, up to the party to think it through and see whether there's any, kind of remedial action that is warranted in this matter. But, look, we are all Nigerians. We had an election. We are over 220 million people in this country. And I think that, one individual, the ambition of one individual should not hold this country, to a standstill. Look, I praise, this individual who rose to be, a former vice president. That's, no mean feat by any standards. But I think that he shouldn't devalue that accomplishment by this pettiness and this obsession to throw mud just to, push a point in the political space. Because Nigerians deserve better. We all need to focus. The government is working. The opposition also needs to focus its act to play its role as the opposition to help government, point out areas where policy can be adjusted, where program can be set straight, and where Nigerians can, in fact, be, handed the benefits of our democracy. That is what Atiku Abubakar, as a statesman, should be concerning himself with at this stage.
Mr. Morka, do you think the APC, and indeed the president, or the presidency, if you like, can, dismiss this whole issue about the legitimacy or otherwise of President Tinubu's candidacy? And of course, he's president now. Can you really just wave it off? How do you, as a party, convince Nigerians and, win back the confidence of Nigerians, not necessarily that they've lost it, but the confidence of Nigerians that they have a president who will portray the right image about the country in a way that, other Nigerians can benefit from that positive image?
You see, anyone can seek to delegitimize any individual or institution. That is the easiest thing to do. All you need to do is to throw some sleaze, and that will create doubt and in the minds of otherwise innocent people who are observing that entire activity. So those who want to delegitimize, you can really stop them, because it takes the capacity to speak and write to say anything you like. And for those who are not as discerning, who may believe that, they may begin to question that institution. But the fact here is that there's no legitimate basis on which anyone can, interrogate or question the legitimacy of this president. An election was conducted. We all voted. And the legitimate institution involved in managing an election declared the verdict. They went to the courts. A tribunal of judges, listened to the evidence and decided that this same individual won the election. And now they have appealed. I would say that, the issue of legitimacy is secondary to legality. Let's first sort out the legal issues. And then we can come to the, quasi-moral issues of legitimacy, which, quite frankly, is a subjective matter. It's not an objective issue. The only thing that is objective here is the legal process, which at the first round, this president won hands down. And we are confident we are also going to win on appeal. And after that is settled, we can begin to discuss some of the issues of, morality, some of the mud which people have raised. But otherwise, I don't think that is going to hamstrung this president or the party from actually delivering to Nigerians that which they have voted for.
Very quickly, in 30 seconds, will Atiku Abubakar, after all is said and done, will he be victimized? Because he, in that press conference, actually said he was victimized, during the last administration. His businesses were actually destroyed. Is that likely to happen under this administration?
No. Look, I don't know what he was talking about. I don't... This president is a Democrat. He is a president who, extends the olive branch and to anyone. And the appointment is made so far. I think it's very instructive. He's brought, people into his government who were not necessarily, party members or loyalists for that matter. Even those who railed against him during the campaign, some of them are serving ministers today. All I'm saying is that the story and the claim that anyone will victimize the former president, that is, just absurd. I don't see that happening. And the rest are sure that some of us in the party will not be amused were that to happen. But I don't think that's even something that is, likely to happen, let alone to be a fear that the former president, vice president should entertain, quite frankly.
All right, Felix Morka, I would like to thank you for your time.